Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, we praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ask him send peace and blessing his beloved and our beloved Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The etiquette of written communication, that's what I meant by messages. Below a few etiquettes of written communication. This is written 100 years ago. Written communication meant writing letters, like actual letters. So it's been updated for the Sheikh Ibrahim, he came here last year, he's put some footnotes here. The text and content must be totally clear, number one. The text and content of the letter should be clear. So this applies in classic, when you're writing letters and emails. Email is classic now, and even WhatsApp messages or Telegram messages as well. Write your full address in every letter. It is not the recipient's responsibility to remember or search for it. So once upon a time, letters would have the address of the person that you write back to. So you should have that in your letter, so that remember on the top right, you write, dear so-and-so to whom may concern, and you have your address there written as well, so that a way to the person can respond. It's not the responsibility of the recipient to remember the address, you should include it in the letter and the address. When referring to a previous correspondence, it should be marked and sent along with your letter to serve the recipient having to save the recipient to recall the content. At times he may not even remember. So therefore, and it mentions here, Sheikh puts when emailing the matter is easier, you can simply reply to the previous message. When using chat apps, and he puts WhatsApp and Telegram, especially in group chats, it is advisable to use the reply feature when responding to a message that is not immediately above yours. This will help avoid confusion and make it clear who you are responding to in the group. Right? So people have had fights because one is talking to the other one, and in reality, we've seen it again and again. Because the guy's attacking something somebody else said, and the guy feels I'm being attacked, and now because nobody knows who actually is talking to who. So therefore, this etiquette or adab is actually very useful in avoiding conflict. Remember the beginning of the book, Haji, please. Jazakallah. The beginning of the book mentioned the main etiquette, like why the social etiquette, Adab al-Mu'asharat exists, is to be considerate of the other person. So we don't avoid, is it Sharia, even our Islamic, our finance or muamalat, our dealings, financial, why there's so many rules on, is to avoid potential conflicts, whether it be in social settings, whether it be in business settings. If you see the transaction, why the goods that should be specified, the details of it should be known, of the actual thing, is to avoid any conflict if there's a contradiction. So when you're selling something that cannot be seen in front, its length, and that's why if you go to Amazon or especially Amazon, you see there's a very detailed description of the good, its weight, its measure, its thing. People still play tricks with it. I bought something, they use very small hands. It was much bigger. I thought it was this big, and it was this small. And I looked back, I went back to the ad, and I realized they use people with very small hands to advertise that thing. It gave a wrong perception. So people do still play with it, but when you go to the description, the centimeters, everything, they didn't lie there. That's my fault for not reading it. So, it's to avoid, when you consider it and you follow these guidelines, they may seem but it's to avoid potential conflict. To be considered to a person from the beginning, it avoids potential any fights happening later on. Do not burden the recipient with an overload of questions in one message. Even 4 or 5 questions are too many. Instead, send the remaining questions upon receiving answers to the previous questions. When writing to busy or highly respected individuals, do not make unnecessary requests such as passing on your greetings to others. Right? Please pass my salam. And this is very bad manners as well. When you tell someone older, right, or someone respectable, that now you're giving him a job to do. Someone, it's not appropriate that you give a duty to somebody. You're making requests. You're asking questions. Let's say you're a lecturer. Please convey my salams to so and so. It sounds nice, but actually giving a job now to this person. Do not make unnecessary requests such as passing on your greetings to others. Write directly to the individuals you wish to address. If you want to give salam to somebody, you give salam. to the person. It is disrespectful to ask the recipients to carry out tasks which are troublesome. Do not send letters without paying the full postal charge. In the old days, you pay the full postal. Sometimes at the receiving end, they have to pay. So you pay for it. And also, if you want a reply, send a self-addressed, and this is the next one. Similarly, do not send prepaid return envelopes which do not meet the required postal charges, and these are returned causing the recipient inconvenience. Like if you want a reply, I mean, this is now easier, but you should, the post paid and so forth, according to them, right? And then so that when they send you a letter back, it doesn't cost them anything. It doesn't inconvenience them. They'll have to go to the post office and get stamps in the old days. Sending letters requiring proof of receipt from the receipt is inappropriate. In regards to guarantee of delivery, both forms of delivery with or without signature are identical. In the case of requiring a signature, the recipient cannot sign and deny having received the letter. Therefore, sending posts which require signature from elders suggests that we entertain the possibility that they may lie in the regard which it gives them is a grave respect. Like you're getting them to registered post that they will sign it to make sure that they receive it, unless it's something valuable. But you're trying to get a signature for a letter. It's not about if they get it, they'll know, like they'll get it. But the thing is that now you're making them sign it to make sure that they, they've signed off on it, they've received it. So he mentions, whereas the intention is to use a service which guarantees delivery or the letter containing official documents, etc., then this would not constitute disrespect, as I mentioned. Like if it is for something very important, then a signature, because it's secure, registered mail. But you're not doing it to check whether the person has received. Like you sort of, no, I got the signature and you received it. Like you have proof against them. The above etiquette comes to almost 100 points. The above etiquettes come to almost 100 points, and a few similar etiquettes are listed below. The conclusion of each of the points is that one should not. So the Sheikh, the original book actually, gets nearly 100 points mention of writing letters. The Sheikh wrote, this is a summary of it. Is that one should not inconvenience or cause upset to anybody through their speech, actions, or situation. This is also the conclusion of good conduct and etiquette. Any individual who conforms to these brief principles will not need lengthy details. This is the reason why this list is succinct. The only action required is that before one says anything or carries out any act, he must first think about whether this will cause any harm. Before you send a message, before you send something, is this going to cause any harm? By doing so, he will commit very few wrongs in his life. If a person just thinks about before he does it, commits to an act, he said, will this upset people? What's a net benefit of this message? After doing this for a few days, his character will be corrected, right? His islah will be done, and this good conduct will form a part of. What's the ayat of Quran? In the nikah, one of the ayat of taqwa. قولوا قولا سديدا قولوا قولا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم. اتقوا الله, and speak that which is upright. Right? So speech, of course, this is the message, and letter is the recorded form of spoken. Asal is spoken communication, and then and the outcome of speaking right, the ulama have explained that if you do this, then Allah will rectify, do your islah. Your other things will improve in your life. And another benefit is yaghfir, because you become so good that even your previous wrongs that you've done, Allah will forgive that also. But if you do one thing, you correct your speech. And the written form, the letter, the message, the email, and so forth, these are the recorded form of speech. After doing this for a few days, his character will be corrected, and this good conduct will form a part of his nature. So this sense of controlling and speaking that only which is good and beneficial, it will also affect the rest of his life. Actually, it will fix up his character. It will improve his character if he can control the words that he uses. And then that's the end of it, inshallah. So if a person is just cautious, there's, of course, in messages and letters, because we do so many messages daily, nothing haram should be there. Also, the things should be checked, especially now, so much news and so forth we share. There are, like, for example, it's not necessarily, but it's a serious thing. Rasulullah said, "Kafa bil mar'i kadiban an yuhaddith bi kulli ma sami'," meaning more or less that it's sufficient to consider a person a liar then he narrates everything that he hears. So there's a page of the Quran, there's a picture, and this picture of like, don't say that the one who's shaheed, he's dead, right? And this is, they say it in Gaza, right? Like, it's not to diminish or anything what's happening in Gaza, but this picture of this ayat Quran in the dust, in the rubble, it's not from Gaza. It was there in Syria, it was there. It's like every 2 years there's a catastrophe. This picture is, look, a miracle, some karama has happened. Whether it's staged or not, Allah knows, like we cannot see the original one, what actually happened. But the thing is that, like, you're saying that this happened and there's ulama that are forwarding this. So I told one from England, I said, this has been repeated this same picture comes, the ayat al-Quran is haqq, but the information around it is wrong. Like, we don't need a lie to tell us what's happening there, what the people are doing there, the sacrifice they're making there, all this. We don't need a lie to support haqq. There's people they're mazloom, people are striving, people doing all the things like that are happening that are positive. Like, it's a mistake, right? So you have to just remove it. And he said, I'll tell the sheikh to remove it, that he doesn't know probably that this is something. So the thing is that, how do you verify these things? You can hear things and people are, we're in the fog of war, so we don't know actually what they call it, the fog of war. We don't actually know specifically, we can see the atrocities that are happening, the outcome, but actually certain things that we actually not sure, we don't even know when it's from exactly. So therefore, so make sure that it's not a lie, that is, it's something that is known. Like, I get every week one uncle, from Pakistan, they get sent hadith. They're not hadith, they're mawdu'. They're not even they're made up hadith. I try to check it, I can't even find it anywhere. Like, this is there's no basis for it. They're not even hadith, they're just made up things. Riwayat, if you do this, you get this. Yeah, there are real fada'il, real rewards. But these ones, like when your eyebrows go up, when you immediate reaction is like, I haven't read every hadith, obviously, but I never heard this one before. This was a spicy one. They're usually very spicy, and so then you follow it up and check it, and he goes, there's no such thing. But he said, because I get regular messages from Pakistan, unfortunately, and who sits and make these things, where they're getting it from, how they're making it. The worst type of lie is a lie that is coded in fadila, like rewards. It's a lie that is it's a sin that is covered in goodness, right? So people used to do this even very early. This is why we have the muhaddiseen who have this whole science of checking, verifying who said and who they narrated from. They have, like, with the sanad, and each person is reliable. So make sure that it's above board. Allah gave people like Imam Bukhari, Imam Muslim, and these great imams who they sifted through to make sure, okay, this one, there's a question mark on this one. This one, he was known to be a liar. This one, he's a liar. He's known to fabricate hadith. So everything was checked, and it's a whole huge science of asma' or rijal, of narrated and so forth, to make sure that what is being said is not just, it sounds good, it's actually true, right? And someone could say, are you being very, and I was reading one book about the muhaddiseen have this difficult task, right? They have this difficult task of critiquing and attacking people's reputations, which is normally, under normal circumstances, it's not a good thing to do. It's not a good thing to go after faults, but for them, it's not about the person now, it's about deen and what they're transmitting. So therefore, they have to be scrutinized, right? So if we are narrating something, make sure that it's, firstly, it's true, it's necessary. There are a few checks we can do. Is it necessary? Is this beneficial, and it's necessary that this information is passed on? So we should check what we say, and then and at least they should not cause any harm. And by narrating fake hadith or something false that is in deen, that is false, it's also causing harm to deen, because we're lying against Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that whoever lies against me intentionally, then he should prepare. This is the hadith mutawatir, 70 Sahaba narrated this, that he goes, he should prepare his place in the fire, right? He should place in the fire of Jahannam, like the one who lies against me. So it's not, it's a wrong sources, and also then wrong understandings. People change meanings, you have to be also careful that people change certain meanings of deen. Like, for example, halal and tayyiba, like someone said, it means organic. I was in a conference and someone said it, and I went to I said to him, Halal and tayyiba is for ta'keed, is halal and it's really like proper halal. That's how it's understood. Tayyib is just another word for halal, right? It's like a synonymous, but it's to emphasize that it's really good. But organic is doesn't. If I say Bismillah on non-organic food, it's got barakah in it. I would assume, I would hope. So. If you say Bismillah on something that is got non-organic, inshallah, if it's halal and it's non-organic, right? Would there be barakah in it if I say Bismillah on it? That's a question. What I'm hoping there's barakah in, inshallah. What I'm saying, like people, they will change the meaning of a word that is there, and we have 1400 years of tafsir to look at what this word actually means, and is there for emphasis. Wallahu alam. But so make sure that what we are transmitting or what we're passing on, we're sending to people is accurate, and at least it doesn't cause harm to deen or Muslims, ourselves as well. This is in this time you have to be very careful that what you put out. That people there's laws for certain things that are, so Muslims should be intelligent, shouldn't be foolish, do something that will harm themselves. It does,
especially in the Middle East.
Yeah, you have to be careful. You have to be careful what you send out. That doesn't cause harm to you unnecessarily. Sometimes you have to speak the truth, even if there is self-harm. Honestly, there's certain situations we should not be cowardly. There is a place and there is a time for speaking the truth that will, and it can cause people harm. But to do that, it requires people that have it requires courage and people to be able to think. So messages are, in today's case, it's messages and WhatsApp and Telegram and these sort of apps that we're using. We make sure if you put one rule that it should not harm the other person. That's what the Sheikh is saying, and these etiquettes. In the other book, in the detailed version of this, there's all the etiquettes mentioned. You should not waste space, leave blank line. In the old, ink and paper was valuable, and so they said you should not leave like blank spaces unnecessarily, and these are probably not applicable to us today. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us understanding and tawfiq to practice what we're saying here.